Hello, thank you for watching my video. Today is August 25th, 2016, and my name is Amina. This will be the 6th video that I have made, so hopefully you've gotten a chance to watch at least one of them. If not, it's okay. I want to start the video off first of all by saying pray about every single thing that I tell you. All things that I've told you, I've prayed about. It is truly something from God. And I want to start off by saying anything that I've told you, I am completely accountable for. Therefore, I make sure that what I'm speaking, I have prayed about and that it is the voice of God. And I want to encourage anyone who is really seeking and wanting to learn new things or any open scrolls that God is currently opening through whomever He chooses, may that person pray about God. If you watch a video and you simply decide within yourself, well, this is not God because it don't line up with my thinking, you need to really take a look at your thinking, because there are things that we cannot download in our system. And that is why even when Jesus was teaching, a lot of people got offended because He would speak things that they couldn't understand, that they were trying to hold in their flesh, and it was collapsing their flesh. So in order for you to, if you really want to benefit by something that you're trying to determine if it's God or not, and it's so wonderful for your flesh or too big for your imagination to grasp hold of, the first thing you should be doing, even when you click on play in these videos, is, Lord, please guide me. I rebuke any demonic voices, and is it you? Also, if it is you, Father, and it's beyond what I expected, please let me settle it in my heart. Once you reveal that it is you, let me settle it in my heart and in my mind and my spirit that I'm going to accept it and respond the way that you feel necessary. So please allow my spirit to lead me and allow my flesh to get behind my spirit. I don't see anything wicked in that comment. If you see something wicked in that comment, please reassess yourself and reassess the situation. Now that I've gotten all the preliminaries out of the way, what I wanted to talk about is a conversation God had with me, Mama, aka God. On this particular day, God was coming to me. Mama was coming to me on a very soft, gentle wave, a nice weather vane. I guess that's the best way to say it. But someone had told me something earlier that day. It was a woman, and she was a preacher. And maybe this is a new line of thought that is out. It was the first time I ever heard it, but here goes. The woman told me, she said, you know, Amina, God is so loving and God is so wonderful that if Satan repented, He would give him and the demons a chance. And I said, wow, really? She said, oh, yeah. Not that I believed her or disbelieved her, but that was just simply that I needed something that I needed to test in the spirit. I didn't know what I don't know. And so I was at home and I was thinking about it, and I was just like, is it like that, God? Well, so Mama came to me and said, Amina, did someone tell you today? He repeated it. It's just how he approaches me sometimes. She said, didn't someone tell you today that I would forgive Satan and the demons if they would repent? I said, yes, Mama, all things you know, no conversation is a secret to you. She said, let me tell you something, Amina. Everything has an appointed time. First of all, that's an out and out lie from the demons. This is what caused the war in heaven. That is what she said to me. She said it is evidence in Genesis chapter 3 that judgment had already been made on the angels, or the dark angels. She called them the uglies, the dark hearts, or the bastards. And I'm going to tell you why she calls them the bastards. And so also she calls the demons nomads, which is demon spelled backwards, and it means wanderer, a nomad. That's what she told me. So pray about that. That's something new. She said there was a time when they could have repented, but they chose not to. She said, just as in the case with Adam and Eve. She told me that when they were in the garden, there was actually 6 angels that were stationed with them. None of them spoke up when they saw the deceit or the deception. But she said out of the 6, only 2 repented. This is a story she's telling me. God knows all things. So I was praying. So as I was praying, she was saying, I confirm that spirit, rebuke any demonic voices, and ask for a sign. And let us fast about it. I said, okay. She said, as a matter of fact, you're going to go on a fast. You're going to go on a 5-day fast. And I will let you know without a doubt, that it is me, the creator of all things, who is everywhere, that is telling you these things are true. I said, okay. So I did that. Now, still in the conversation, she brings up about what angels meant. Sorry, my allergies got me kind of groggy. But she brings up why the spirits in heaven are called angels. Angels is a title, if you didn't know. But she said, do you understand why I call some angels? But she said, Mama said, angels. That's how she says it. It was an adjective, angels, and demons or nomads or bastards, the demons, the dark-hearted ones. And I was like, no, I don't know why. She said, because those spirits, the pure ones, jailed. So it's an action title. These jailed with God. They jailed with God. They connected themselves with God, with their creator. They stayed plugged into their creator. But the demons detached themselves from God, and they became nomads or wanderers. So they basically emancipated themselves and handed themselves over to a new king, fellow creation, and they became nomads or bastards. They became Satan's seed. So they became children of a false god, which is Satan. And then Satan himself, Father calls Nathas. Satan spelled backwards, which means not as you say. That is what God told me. So I asked, okay, well, you said everybody is going to be judged. But how are you going to judge those who have mental illnesses or whose thinking ability isn't correct? He told me, Amina, I will find a table of common sense, and we will come and we will talk about the things, and we will go over their life and go over their accounting. And then Jesus said, aka Baba. So Baba said, listen, King Nebuchadnezzar, it was us who owned his wisdom. It was us who owned the wisdom of Solomon. It was us who owned the wisdom and also the thinking ability of King David when he was pretending to be insane. So he said, it is us. Insanity is nothing but a demon. So he said, when you disconnect, so if you are an angel and you disconnect yourself from God, you become the opposite of what your creation was. So if you were an angel and you disconnected yourself and you became a nomad or a bastard spirit, and you were created as an angel of joy, now you become a spirit of complaint. If you were created as an angel of encouragement, then you become an angel of discouragement. If you were created as an angel of joy, now you become an angel of depression. I said, okay. He said, anytime you go opposite, or the opposite, anytime you go opposite, or you do what I don't want you to do, you become disconnected from me. And I asked him, because when God is, let me tell you something, excuse me, when Mama is talking to you, there is no way that you can come away from her unchanged. The interaction that you have with God, if you allow his spirit to resonate on you, you come out smelling like a spiritual person. So a person that is fleshy is going to think you're out there in the wind, or that you are insane, or that something else is wrong with you. When in actuality, it is your spirit that is leading you. And that's why it takes a spiritual person, according to God, not to myself or not to oneself. The assessing is not our own, but it takes a spiritual person who is connected to God to see another spiritual person. So they'll say, oh, wait a minute, that person smells like God. Father told me there's no way that you can come in his presence and accept what he's telling you and remain the same. And this is especially true for those who are chosen, not just the called ones, but the chosen ones. He said it's just like being in a perfume factory. You cannot spend a certain amount of time in a perfume factory, and even if you don't put on any perfume, and not come out smelling like where you've been. So this is what he was explaining to me. So number one, don't worry about people's reactions to God's Spirit being upon you, because God is now making a distinction between the fleshly things and those who want to be led by the spiritual things. So when you say something, or when you have an experience and a person is not even telling you, well, I prayed about it and God told me this or God told me that, that person's walking in the flesh. And they're so blinded by their own arrogance, they don't know that they feed off of themselves. That was another thing that Baba told me. I'm not an intellectual giant. This is something that God related to me because I prayed for wisdom. He said, and this is the problem with arrogant ones, is an arrogant person or a blind person detaches themselves from God, and then they start to feed off of themselves. So everything becomes fleshly, and everything becomes detected through their flesh or through their senses, not knowing that their senses are dulled. So if you have if Mama is dealing with you and telling you deep secrets, and the demons are telling you that you're crazy, if it has been settled in the spirit realm, and if it has been settled in this realm, and you know for a fact that no, that was God, even if God whispers something true to you and the demons are yelling a lie to you, you will still know the difference. We have a saying where I'm from, and that is, the child of a woman knows the nipple better than the mom. In other words, a baby knows its mother's nipple better than the father's, because it is something that it's suckled off of, and it is something that is life sustaining. So you know God, and don't worry about the demons, don't worry about the dark ones, because they sit on people. They have their own agents as well. God have his people, and certainly Mama has hers. But you can best believe one is going to bow to the other, and the scriptures already speak of it. It's not going to be God bowing to man. Never will that happen. Never will it happen. So back to the judging of the insanity ones, because that was very interesting to me, and that and also the judging of the demons. He said, look, I mean, everything has had its time. They've had their time. And when people tell you that Satan will repent, they don't know Satan. They don't know Satan, and apparently they don't know God. God is fair. God is just. So do you think if God is all fair and all loving and kind and knows the inside out of all things, do you really think that he would unfairly condemn someone to death? Which brought up another thing. Excuse me. Now, Baba starts to talk to me and pray about this. Excuse me. If you're not going to pray about any of this video, please just stop watching right now. Let me give you a minute to just stop watching, because we're about to get into some deep stuff. Remember, God is everywhere. He knows all things, and he said in the final part of the days there will be new scrolls. Just like a baby has to be introduced to new food, we are no longer babies now. We are walking. So now God told me, Amina, the part or the time for people to be infants is over. Babies got to grow up. He said he was not handing his kingdom to babies, but to joint heirs who were ready to walk in his will and ready to walk in maturity. I'm not going to even say Christian maturity. It's bigger than Christianity. It's bigger than Christianity. It's bigger than Islam. It's bigger than Buddhism. It's bigger than anything. It's bigger than Native American worship. All of those things. Before anything happened, you are a human first who owes your next breath to the creator of life. Seriously, that's what God told me. He said any religion that you were in, he simply allowed you to come to know him through that. That was a piece of the puzzle that he had given you. But we are not the whole story. We are a piece of the story. And if we allow ourselves to be open-minded and examine things openly in the spirit, then we start to get the whole picture. So it's not, yes, Jesus did say, this is what Jesus told me, but I got to tell you about Adam and Eve in a minute. A lot of the stuff he's telling me. And I'm praying as I'm talking to you to get everything out. But this is what Jesus told me. He said in the scriptures, I said, no one can come to the Father except through me. He said, but if I said that no one can come to the Father except through me, and unless you know me, you can come to the Father, how is it that I would have other sheep? I was like, I don't know, Baba. I honestly don't know. He said, if a person is not a Christian, or if a person is not walking in Islam, how is it that I can say I know them? Or how is it I can say that I know that agnostic person? Yet I died for all mankind. I don't know. I just had to be honest. I don't know. He said in the scriptures, he said, I have other sheep which are not of this fold. We don't know who the other sheep are. They do. They know his voice too. That's why he said in Revelation, my sheep know my voice when I talk. So don't be so quick to judge other people, Amina, because their fleece is not like yours. They are still sheep. They are just of another flock that you don't know about. May your will be done. So then Mama starts to talk to me. And this is how they do sometimes. Sometimes Mama will talk, and then she'll let Baba talk, and it's just like an ongoing conversation between all of us. And sometime during the conversation, God is saying, pray about what I just said. Pray about what I just said. Confirm that spirit. So she's already basing my mind and praying before the demons could even throw anything. So if something is in your lap, and if God's thoughts, God's will, God's spirit is in your mind, when the demons throw something to your mind, it's already occupied by righteousness. It's already occupied by prayer. It's already occupied by discernment. It's already occupied by a testing spirit. And you become known in the spirit realm as a person of, we can't lie to her or we can't lie to him, because they're going to already test it. And woe to the demon if they do that, and God says, he sends out what he called reconnaissance angels or avenge angels. They know that. He got his own police department too. So anyway, pray about that. I wanted to finish telling you about Adam and Eve. So Jesus asked me, the same lady, we're talking about the same lady that said about Satan, being forgiven and given a chance of mercy if God allowed him to and he wanted to. And then she goes on to talk really negative things about Adam and Eve. So I was just, listening to her and being myself, praying. I'm like, okay, Father, is this from you? How do you want me to take this? Don't let me hate it. Don't let me love it. Just, let me feel about it the way that you want to, and let me accept it, walk with it, and not let it go once you settle it. I didn't get any answer at that point, but I didn't struggle with anything. I just said, well, it's not for me to know right now. So that was the time for us to know this conversation. So Mama asked me, did I think that Adam and Eve was... Did the sacrifice that Jesus provided for him, his son, Jesus Christ, did that cover Adam and Eve? And I said, well, it always bothered me that she was deceived. I'm like, but she didn't even know she was being lied to. So, is that fair to judge that person? But, God's ways, I don't understand. Well, then Baba, a.k.a. Jesus, said, oh, Amina, my blood covered them first. It is evidence that my blood covered them because in Genesis chapter 3, we speak about Eve's seed going on and her seed conquering Satan's seed. In fact, he told me from Genesis to Revelation chapter 12, the woman at Revelation chapter 12, here's something new. I hope you're sitting down. That is Eve in Revelation chapter 12. He said when he looks down at mankind, his purpose had not been fulfilled. Isaiah 55:11, sweetie, is what he told me. I told Adam and Eve to fill the earth. So I'm praying, and I'm like, Father, is this you who is speaking? This is heavy. Chew, swallow. Your teeth are new, he said. This is what God told me. Your teeth are new, but they are sharp. Swallow. The Holy Spirit will help you get it down. If it is true, it will remain in you. If it is not true, you will vomit it up, spiritually speaking. So I never thought about that. I said, oh, wow. Okay. He said, so a lot of people are thinking the woman at Revelation chapter 12 is the congregation. It's a single woman. Eve, he said. He said that his love for her and his love for his love for Adam and his love for Eve had not diminished, and that he will be bringing them back in this final part of the days in the resurrection, which is now. So your next question might be, which was mine, are they here now? I'm going to challenge you to pray to God about that, because only God can really answer that. And may I be judged severely if I am lying to you, if I am deceiving you. May God judge me severely. I don't care about anybody else judging me. Please, you better focus on your own judgment. But I say this truly before you today. May God judge me if I am lying or have not checked the spirit, and ask other people as well. And every single answer came back that it is what it is, basically. So, with that being said, I next asked about insane people again. And then God once again told me, he said, Amina, I hold insanity. I hold everything in my hand. There is nothing. Now, is there mental illness? God said those are nothing but spirits that have attached themselves to people whose minds have become weakened. That is what God told me. Now, if you talk to a psychologist, if you talk to a psychiatrist, they're going to have their own opinions about it. But when I asked about it, Father says that no human can determine what God's voice is without testing it, without going through prayer. Prayer is the door to the spiritual realm. So if you are deciding that a person is acting this way or that way, now I'm talking to the mental health industry, and you are denouncing that God is dealing with that person or that a demon is tormenting that person, that's a very, very big chair to sit in. And you're not even praying, God, give me wisdom. You'll find out later it's a particular reason why, because it's going to be a lot why I'm saying this, because it's a lot of people that are telling other folks that are having spiritual experiences that they're crazy, whether they are in the mental health industry, or if it's a family member, or if it's just a friend and someone's saying, I think she's falling off her rocker. But you don't know who that person is struggling with for their mind. And sometimes God allows you to struggle with something so that you can grow strong and learn to defeat it. He told me, Amina, if you have it in your mind that you're going to serve me no matter what, even if man judges you and they falsely accuse you, you have made the right decision. So I wanted to tell everyone who really, really is interested in knowing the deeper things of God, you're going to have a mental struggle. But you can win. You're not by yourself. Father told me when you pray for peace, there are actually angels of peace that he dispatches to you. When you pray for faith, there's faith, the angels of faith. When you pray for determination, when you pray for wisdom, when you pray for discernment, all of those things are gifts that the angels are pouring into you. In fact, it brings them great joy for you to pray for those things, because all of those things are free gifts. So I think I covered everything. I really wanted to share that with you today because, I myself am dealing with people that are telling me, no, Amina, so don't think that it's just you, but I myself am dealing with people, in the field and wherever God takes me that's telling me, well, I don't see it that way. It doesn't matter how I see it. It doesn't matter how that person sees it or how that person views it. Look, it's about to be really hot on planet Earth. I'm telling you. And there is no running away from it. We have to face this. And even those who have the hope or the belief of coming into a rapture, just like Jesus said, if they have persecuted me, they're going to persecute you. We will have to take up our own torture stake. But you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. So what I want to encourage people, in ending, is just Pray about everything. When you hear something new, don't dismiss it. Someone said in a comment that it doesn't line up with the Bible. Well, I went to God about that. God, you're telling me things, and people are saying the experiences I'm having with you is not lining up with the Bible. And Jehovah told me that is a lie, because I said in Revelation chapter 1, 2, and 3 that John was opening up new scrolls. And he said, this is why I'm telling you to worship me in spirit and truth. Why do you think it is I'm not asking people to worship me in truth and scriptures? Because the scriptures are a guideline to something big, to something new. So if you're getting something new that this generation is unaware of, then you won't be able to handle it, because you are trying to fit it in what you perceive God to be. And God is outside of your thoughts. He gave you thinking ability. Can you outthink him? That's what he told me. He said, who can even outthink him on his discarded thoughts? Can a human out... He said it like this: who can perceive my discarded thoughts even when their mind is on a good day? No one can. Absolutely no one. That's why we have to come to him as children and humble. You don't have to be a fool. He's not saying be that. He's saying, just like a child, when they come to their mom, is that true? Dad, is that true? So-and-so said this. But if you automatically say, no, that's not true, but you haven't established it, then you close your mind to what God is trying to give you. And once again, I want to just warn people, because God is kicking people's behinds who are denouncing his prophecy. Now you will know him with thick fingers and anger. So before you do that, Lord, is that person from you? But check yourself first. We have to check ourselves. I have to check myself first. I cannot be dirty and then think I'm going to sit in front of this camera and say, okay, this is what the Lord said. I'm only fooling myself, because you don't know what happens to me when this camera's turned off. You don't know if I'm receiving blessings or if I'm being cursed. I pray that I constantly stay blessed and that he can use me in any way that he wants to. And I pray the same for you too. I pray for those who are struggling. Be true. If God, whatever God tells you and you know it's him, don't let nobody talk you out of that experience. Do not. Because whoever owns the mind owns the body. That's why the scriptures say, have the mind of Christ. You see, if you don't know Jesus and you know him as someone else, if you know him as Muhammad, that's what God revealed to you. If you know Buddha as your Jesus or Shiva as your God, be true to whoever he revealed it to. You were there. You were at the conversation. No one else wasn't. And don't allow anybody else to define who you are to God. But no matter who you are, we all have to prove ourselves worthy. So let us stop trying to define who other people are. That's what God told me. Basically, let me close by saying this. God told me, Amina, how can you, as a child of mine, check somebody else's diaper who may have urinated? But I'm not trying to be vulgar, but I'm saying this is what he said to me. Let me be truthful. He said, if you got a dirty diaper, how can you check another person who passed gas but their diaper is clean? It appears that they're dirty, but you are dirtier than them. Make sure that we stand clean before God. Father told me, just for those, this is why, it's the reason why I'm leading up to this. Father told me, anybody speaking against his prophets in this day, he will send the angels to, he will send his avenge angels, which are his police department, and will correct them with a swiftness. And they will know without a God who it is, without a doubt, who God is, and that it is him that is blinking their eyes and having them swallow on his schedule. That is what he told me. So this message have a little bit of fire in it, and it's okay. I got to give it to you the way he told me to. But I really hope that you pray and that you think about these things, and that you allow God to define who you are. I will stress that over and over. Let him define who you are. If you're having visions, accept it. If you're having dreams, accept it. If you're seeing angels, accept it. Don't let nobody tell you you're hallucinating. when a person tell you you're hallucinating or you're schizophrenic and stuff, you ask them to determine the difference between delusional and faith. There is a difference. So if a person is telling you, what, we feel that you're delusional, then you ask them, well, can you please tell me the difference between delusion and faith? If a person's telling you those voices you're hearing is a change in your mental status, or just some garbly goob like that, well, then you ask them, can you show me how you determine the difference between a divine voice, a demonic voice, and a diminished mind voice? And you can best believe, from what God told me, that a diminished voice and a demonic voice are one and the same. They are lovers, in fact. That's what he said to me. So I stake my life on everything that he has said and had me say to you. This message is important. It's not for babies. If you're a baby and you can't handle that God is getting ready to kill some people, please ask him to help you grow up to maturity quickly, because some grown folk stuff about to happen. No time for babies. That day is over. He said even when you say you are a child of his, he said by now you should be fully mature. That's what Paul said. Paul did not encourage people to stay in an immature state. He said now that we have grown up to maturity. So if you're walking around saying, I'm a child of God and I'm this and that, baby, this is what God told me. He said that his children, or not his sons and daughters, thank you, that his sons, I'm thanking God because he helped me with that. His sons and daughters are growing up. And this portion that we're experiencing is puberty. It's just a transition into something higher. That's all. It's just a transition. Believe me, the reward is greater than the persecution. Persecution is nothing but a stepping stone to a higher level. So, let me see, did I cover everything? I think I did. Feel free to let me slow it down. Feel free to leave a comment. I enjoy your comments, but be careful what you write, not just for my things, but for other people's things. But if you want to step out there and do things your own way, I won't even say may God have mercy on your soul. What I will say is what God told me, may the wicked and the righteous pray for themselves. That's the point we are at now. So stay strong for the righteous, the holy ones, the ones that are looking for him. It's not about religion. It's about relationship. Okay? Thank you again and have a beautiful day. Bye.